she's back again. Hello, hello, hello. How are we doing? I'm so excited to talk about today's topic because it's something that we've discussed before, like years ago on my channel, but I think it's such a sucker of joy, and that is comparison. We all know that comparison is the thief of joy. So I just think we really need to discuss how to stop doing that, because I swear once I stopped doing that, the quality of my life went up so much higher, and I want that for y'all. I'm missing a nail, and the rest of my nails I physically had to cut down because they were too long and I was stabbing stuff. I'm not gonna compare myself to other girls that have their nails done right now, okay? Let's get into the topic. If you haven't liked or subscribed or joined our family, join it now. I'll give you a couple seconds. Okay, now let's get into the video. Let's talk about comparison, the thing that is probably stealing so much of your day-to-day joy right now. This is just an overarching thing that I see based off of like gender roles in society and where that comparison comes from. Women are raised to be chosen, which we're trying to deconstruct on this channel. But women are raised to aspire to not be a protector and a provider, but to be a wife. Right? A woman wants to feel that all the men want her, because then that makes the woman feel most desired, and that means like it won't be no problem of her getting, you know, a husband, and he won't want nobody else, and you know what I mean, the whole thing. Women want to feel like the only girl in the world. That is where I feel like the competition comes from with women. It tends to be how we look, how put together our life seems to be, just how many options we have of men. I think that's where women tend to compare themselves a lot more, especially physically in today's day and age because of social media and everything, right? It tends to be, this girl seems like all the guys want her, and why is that? And then we are thinkers, so we now dissect that. Well, maybe it's because her teeth are perfect, or because her body looks like this, or her hair looks like this and mine doesn't. And now comparing yourself to her feels defeating because it feels like you've lost and she's won. That's what it seems like to me. The comparison equals competition. Even if you think in your mind like, I'm not being malicious, I'm not trying to compete with her, subconsciously you're comparing yourself because you're trying to see how you match up with the girl. You're trying to see who's in first place. Am I above her or beneath her? That's competition. And so the first thing I would say to deconstruct being someone who compares themselves a lot is to stop competing. As soon as you're competing, you've already lost the race. You know what I mean? Once in your mind, you remind yourself, I'm not competing with anybody but who I was yesterday. I'm not in competition with any of these other girls. I don't know what they go through behind closed doors. What they eat don't make me. And the more and more you're trying to compete with her, the less and less you're beating yourself. The less and less you're outdoing yourself, because you keep trying to outdo this imaginary fixture of what you think this girl, you know, represents. When roles reverse, that same girl that you're idolizing, in her mind, she might think you have it all. The girl that you think has it all might internally be suffering in ways that you're not. One, and two, maybe she's not. Let's throw that on the table. Let's throw that on the table, because it doesn't always have to be that. Maybe the girl, you know, that you want, you know, she's sad too. Maybe she's not sad. And you wanna know why maybe she's not sad? Maybe she's not sad because she's focused on herself. Maybe she's not sad because she's always just working on herself. Maybe she's not sad because she's not looking to the next lawn because her grass is green. And she knows her grass is green because she waters her grass, rather than watching the person next door water their grass and doing nothing about her grass. Like, a lot of times people try to be like, well, even the prettiest girls and even the most successful women and even the most da-da-da, they get sad just like you, which is very true. Don't get me wrong. But also, we don't have to hope that they're sad to make ourselves feel better. We don't have to say, well, she doesn't have it all, and well, I have this over her. Good for you. And if she is really happy in her life, she would clap for you and say good for you too. You don't have to compete with shorty. Like, it doesn't have to be, well, at least I have this on her. Who's the judge of this race? Who is like, does she know she's running in this race with you? Does she know that? You may be running in a race with these imaginary fixtures of the women that you are comparing yourself to. They don't even know that they're in the race with you. They don't even want to be in the race with you. They are in a race with themselves. And you have to start being in a race with yourself. At what point are you gonna say, okay, wait, hold on. I keep trying to race Sue, Allie, and Sam, but where am I? Like, I'm looking at they lanes. And this is something that I said years ago. Do the clip if I can find it, but if not, let's go with what you're doing right now of being in the race with other women and trying to compare yourself to other women and see where you match up at the race, right? If you're in your lane and you keep looking at Sue over here and Sally over here's lane, you trying to see where they going in their lane. You don't know what's happening in your lane. And taking your eyes off your lane is very dangerous. That's in real life. You looking at Sue's lane and Sally's lane and saying, oh, but Sue just went this many miles per hour and Sally just swerved that obstacle, will make you hit an obstacle in your own lane. And if you were to be focused on your own lane, you would be able to swerve through these obstacles and zoom past to your finish line too. But you're so focused on everybody else's lanes, you can't see the shortcuts in your lane. You can't see the obstacles in front of you that you keep running into, slowing you down. You can't see your end goal. You can't enjoy your ride. Like, screw the finish line. Everybody's always so worried about getting to the finish line. It's kind of like that saying, you know, when it's like when you're on the train, don't be so focused about getting to the destination. Like, look out the window. Enjoy the ride. Enjoy the train ride. Like, we're always so focused on the finish line. So it's like, even in this race thing, we don't even have to be focused on, okay, but the woman that I'm gonna be, but the woman that, what about the woman that you are right now? What about second by second, moment by moment, this like metamorphosis butterfly that you're becoming on your ride, on your journey? Like, this lane that you're in should be an enjoyable ride. You're taking the scenic route, sister. Take the scenic route. Like, look around, look at yourself, look within. Like, there's so much you can do on your race with self. And race with self is not affected by others' race with selves. You need to start focusing on, okay, I'll never be in Sue's lane. I'll never be in Sally's lane. The only lane I'll ever have, meaning the only body you'll ever have, the only life you'll ever have. And that doesn't mean we can't improve our body, improve our life, improve all of these things. But the only one I have, the only foundation I have, is mine. It was already given to me. It was already delegated to me, okay? Think of yourself as like clay. One thing I'm gonna say about being clay is that it's really important who you let shape and mold your clay. You can be peer pressured by the wrong groups. You can be influenced by the wrong people, not even just influencers, like influenced by the wrong people around you in your life, trauma, generational things. Like, there are things that can mold the clay in a certain way that are harmful for you. That doesn't mean that you can't mold it differently. That doesn't mean that your hands are not the most powerful. Well, to me, believing in God, I think God's hands are the most powerful for my clay. But you and God work together, okay? You mold your clay. And the biggest thing of all of this, beyond changing your body, changing your finances, is molding how your brain operates. That is the clay foundation. It's not how much you work out. It's not how much money you're making. It's not how you're living. It's not how many purses you have, how many guys you have. It's not that that's going to improve the quality of your life. Looping back to a point, there are people who have all of those things and their quality of life is the same as before because they didn't mold their brain properly. There are also people who have those things and have all this amazing quality of life because they molded not only what was around them, but they started by molding what was within them. So for you, the biggest thing that's going to help you stop comparing yourself is to remold what you've taught yourself, about others, and about your place regarding you and others, about your place in this world and how others see you, how others interact with you. I don't know, a lot of us have a little touch of spotlight syndrome, right? Where we think like the spotlight is on us and not in a good way. A lot of times we feel like, oh, she has this, so it's highlighting that I don't have that, either to others or to myself. And it's like, girl, no one is comparing you to others nearly as much as you think, first of all. Nor are they doing it nearly as much as you do. 9 times out of 10, they're not doing it at all. And if they are, they're boring and miserable, because why are you spending your time comparing other people? Like, be serious. Those aren't people we want to take notes from anyway. You don't got no notes from me. If you sitting there comparing other people all day long, you have 0 notes to give me. I'm not taking notes from you. Sorry. Take the spotlight off of yourself of thinking when someone else does something, it speaks to a lack in you. Gabrielle Union talked about this a while ago, where it was like, your light shining doesn't dim mine. We can all be bright, shining stars. Like, it doesn't dim mine. And the only way that it can dim mine is if I allow it to dim mine, is if I take your win as a personal defeat. That's crazy. Like, your win is your win. You know what the issue is? You know what the issue is now that I'm like saying this out loud? I'm thinking about it like this, right? Think about the Olympics. In the Olympics, there are so many different, what do they call them, like events? There's so many different things. Like, there's track and there's gymnastics and there's all these different things. And then there's all these different competitions within all of these different sports, right? There's so many different things going on. And in my mind, right, it's like, one, in my mind, we're not at the Olympics. One, in my mind, we are not competing. I'm just existing. But two, even if in your mind right now that you still feel like it's somewhat of an internal competition, which is why you're comparing, a girl winning the 100-meter race doesn't take away from you winning the 200-meter race. Like, you can both be winners. There's enough events and enough races and enough sports for everybody to get a medal, okay? And that's what you need so bad. And really, the most important medal and the one that's gonna last the longest is the one that you give yourself. Once you allow yourself to say, hold on now, I love that for her. I love that her hair looks like that. My hair, it don't move like that, but I love that her hair gives. Her hair is eating. Once you're able to get to that point, your day-to-day life will be so much better. Once you're able to root other people on in being their best selves in their life, you will be your best self in your life. Sometimes it can be really difficult to unpack some of these ideas by yourself. Sometimes you can get yourself into a hole by trying to think about these things. I've done that to myself 100 times. So sometimes you can outsource. Maybe you talk to a friend, maybe you talk to a family member, and if both of those things aren't comfortable, maybe you talk to a counselor or maybe you talk to a therapist. Which is why today's sponsor is BetterHelp. BetterHelp is on a mission to make therapy easier and more accessible. Especially with a topic like we're talking about today, sometimes it's really difficult to do that on your own. So getting a therapist through BetterHelp might help you talk through these topics and make better decisions in your day-to-day thought process. It's super quick and easy. You'll fill out a questionnaire and then you'll be matched with a therapist in as little as a few days. Also, I have a lot of friends that tried therapy for like one time and they didn't like their therapist, so they just never tried again. But with BetterHelp, if you feel like your therapist is not the right fit, you can switch out with no extra cost, no hassle, no nothing. Beyond the 7,000 plus reviews and the 4.3 rating on Trustpilot, I personally have some friends that use BetterHelp every single week and they seem to love it. So you can click the link in my description or go to betterhelp.com/Taty and get 10% off your first month of therapy. Thank you to BetterHelp for always showing support to the channel and sponsoring today's video. Now let's get back into it. Once you're able to release the competitive nature, you'll be able to exist in community rather than competition. Let's switch the C's up. Like, rather than uplifting each other and finding community, it's like tearing each other down and finding competition. And to me, it's for the male gaze 9 times out of 10. To me, it's like when another girl has something that you feel like you don't. You feel like she has one up on you, and therefore you feel like she has more like currency, like she has more stake in the game. She has more pull than you do. I don't know that that's the case. One, because everybody's cup of tea is different. Even if you are doing it for the male gaze, it's like, babe, every guy doesn't like the same thing. Every guy's not gonna want the same thing. And then two, if you are worried about, oh, this girl has more social currency and this girl gets more guys and more attention, I know it's gonna be hard to accept, but the type of man that you want isn't easily swayed by materialistic or physical social currency. And then I also think that people forget how quickly male attention is fleeting, how quickly male attention comes and goes, how worthless male attention really is. Like, girl, one thing that also really switched my brain about comparing myself, one, stop being male-centered, because it probably is about that, right? It's probably about ideas and ideals that men have put out that they like, you know, body type wise or face wise or hair, whatever it is, right? It's probably about that. Let that go. Let's say, who put men in charge of what's cute and what's hot and what's not? Let's start there, one. But two, a lot of this comparison is giving men too much power. It's giving them too much. It's giving them too much. Taty, stop. It's giving them too much, because it's really putting them in the power position of like, but this is what they want. Girl, what do you want? What type of man do you want? What do you want? You hold the power in that situation. If you're comparing yourself to girls and feeling competitive with them because of the male gaze, and you really have to be honest with yourself about that, because 9 times out of 10 is probably what it is. If you're comparing yourself and you're feeling less than because of that, because you think that in the eyes of men you're beneath her or whatever, strip every idea that's been taught to you that the eyes of men are more worthy than yours, that the eyes of men are the end-all be-all say-so that we just must obey. No. First of all. Second of all, to remind you, the man that is put on this earth for you is put on this earth for you. There is not a different hairstyle that can take him. There is not a societal ideal of a body type or the way she dresses that can take him. The man that is put on this earth is like lock and key for you, or the woman that was put on this earth for you, or whatever identification. whoever was put on this earth for you was put on this earth for you. Lock and key. There is nothing that can sway him. Your scent will pull him in. Not the perfume you put on. Your natural scent, your natural pheromone will pull him in. Your laugh will pull him in. It could be the goofiest laugh you could ever imagine. That, because it was meant for each other, will pull and magnetize him in. The way that you blink, the way that you breathe. Those are the things that you can't buy, you can't make, you can't, like, those are the things that make you you. And so moving forward, I think to stop comparing yourself, start to find the things that make you you, and stop comparing it to what you think society said it should be, and start saying, this is what makes me me. And that's so cool. Like, think about how many people could have been on this earth and I'm here. Like, how cool is that? Think about all the different combinations of what I could have been. I could have had this color hair, I could have had this kind of laugh, I could have been this height, but this is how I ended up. How cool is that? I'm going to embrace that, because this is what makes me me, and I know that I'm put on this earth for somebody else who's gonna love every single inch of who I am. No matter what the next girl looks like, smells like, laughs like, wears, you know what I'm saying? If you are comparing yourself based off of like wanting male attention, or fearing that you won't get, you know, the man or keep the man because of other girls, I think a lot of the comparison stems from that. If your comparison comes from like a sense of just self-worth and just feeling less worthy, you also have to explore why. Why do you feel less worthy because the girl next to you or whatever looks like this, or is doing this, or has this? Like, I think it's about stripping the ideas that the world has put on you of like what the best girl is. You get to decide that. You get to decide. Maybe you feel like the best girl, for example, the best girl over there might wear heels, but to you, the best girl can rock a fly fit in a pair of sneakers. Maybe the best girl over here is, you know, putting a lot of effort into all her outfits and thoughts, and maybe to you, the best girl over here doesn't care about what she's wearing because she cares more about what she's saying. She cares more about what she's doing. Like, you get to decide. That is the fun part of life. You get to decide what is the best for you. You get to decide. You get to write that story. You can rewrite your story. Now, a lot of our story is in pen ink, okay? So there might be parts and things that we've taught ourselves that are in ink. But if we start to write, and we keep writing, and we write over some of that, and we keep going, eventually a new story will be at the top of your mind. Eventually a new story will be the one that you're living. That will be your most recent entry. And so do that. The same thing with the clay. Some of the clay, some of the way that you've molded yourself might have dried into place. Some of it might be really hard to shake, but we always have more clay to keep building. We always can shift certain areas around the dry parts and say, yeah, but if we add this, and if we kind of move this way, I will start to operate like this. You have to start operating and thinking you're the best thing since sliced bread. That doesn't mean that the girl next to you can't also feel like the best thing since sliced bread. That doesn't mean that we all should feel that. We all should feel that way, and that's not a competitive thing. It's not I'm better than you. I think I'm the best thing for me, and that's the most important thing. It's not about I'm better than you, I'm better than you. It's I'm better than who I was yesterday. Internally, I'm doing better every single day. I'm feeling better. Remind yourself that the biggest competition is you. The biggest battle you have is you. The biggest hill, the biggest hurdle you have is you. And stop getting in your own way by looking at other people and it looking like they don't have any hills when they're fighting their own silent battles too. And even if they're not, even if they've beaten these battles, it's probably because they were focused on their own hill. So focus on your own hill and continue to climb your hill and make that journey a scenic one. Make this a scenic climb, okay? As you look around and you find why you've taught these things to yourself, why you compare yourself, and how we're gonna move forward and say, I don't wanna do that anymore. You know? Okay, y'all, this was just a quick rant because I really want y'all to stop thinking that that girl shining doesn't make you shine, that girl shining dims your light, or that she's even shining brighter than you. Like, you are a star. You are a star, okay? And if nobody told you today, I'm telling you. So from this point forward, we're focusing on our own lanes. We're focusing on being better than we were yesterday in any sense of the way, and enjoying the route, because what a blessed life that you have to have breath in your lungs and to have an opportunity to be better than you were yesterday. All right, y'all. Love y'all so much. Let's chat in the comments if you have any questions. You just want a girl chat, let's do it. I'll see y'all in my next one.